This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The NAI Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
The Jason Walker Show, broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Here's Jason Walker.
Hey, yo, happy Thursday, the Jason Walker Show. Presented by Capital Collision Center. Montana State Law says it is your vehicle, it is your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center here inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave. And a fun show coming up today. We're going to talk rodeo. National Finals gets underway tonight down in Arlington, Globe Life Field. On the baseball field there for the Texas Rangers in Arlington, Texas. We will also check in with Capital girls basketball coach Katie Garcin-Forba. Practice is supposed to start Monday. That is when school returns, both Helena High and Capital, to in-person learning, at least the hybrid model. But we'll talk to Katie Garcin-Forba, the Capital coach, as the Bruins get ready for the season to defend a title that they were co-champs with last year. Of course, we all know about everything of that. On this day in history coming up, and yesterday I forgot to talk about the Texas waitress, so we will talk about that as well coming up. But we start with our daily COVID. 65,122 total cases, 899 new ones in the state of Montana, 722 deaths, 474 in the hospital, 16,040 active cases, 48,360 have recovered, including yours truly and the wife. She's still not entirely past it, but yeah. Anyway, so that is our COVID update, numbers-wise. Now our COVID update for the sports. We knew about Tuesday, we knew about Carroll College and Tech because there are cases in the Carroll College women's program for basketball. Also cases on the Montana Tech men and women, so they're shut down for 2 weeks. And then today it comes out that Rocky and Northern have been postponed because of COVID-related issues, according to the Frontier Conference and MSU Northern. So that leads me to believe that the cases are in Northern. Both doubleheaders Saturday and Sunday at the Fortin Center now will not be played. They will be remade or rescheduled. So it would have been the season openers for both men's teams and also for the Rocky women. Remember, Northern women played in Helena last weekend against LC State and Valley City State, going 1-1. And then the next day, we find out that Carroll had his cases. So I wonder if that has anything to do with why the Northern games at Rocky have been canceled or postponed. Remember, we have to say postponed, not canceled, because they're not officially canceled. Just postponed. So does that tie in? Remember Tuesday we talked about that. Does that tie in? Does Carroll having cases, having had Northern in the same gym with LC State and Valley City State, is that now why Northern can't play at Rocky this weekend? Remember we said it's going to affect some teams. Well, it seems to be affecting Northern and Rocky. So that means Carroll, Tech, Northern, Rocky. Remember, Carroll was supposed to play at Oregon State in an exhibition on Monday night, but that didn't happen because of cases in the Carroll women's basketball team. So it just makes a lot of sense. See the trickle-down effect here. Right? I haven't heard anything at LC or Valley City, but we know Tech has issues. They were shut down for 2 weeks. That came out Monday, I believe. And then Monday it was announced that Carroll And now today, 3 days later, Northern announces that they can't play men or women at Rocky. So there are no Frontier Conference games for the opening weekend of conference play this weekend. I mean, this is real, right? This isn't just something that we're making up. This is actual legit issues going on, and it's affecting Frontier Conference men's and women's basketball. Now, they're not going to be fans in the stands, but like I asked you Tuesday, what are we doing here? Seriously. And it's not about the bottom line because there's no fans in the stands, so there's no money being made. So what are we doing here, folks? Like, man, just think about this stuff. Teams are now being affected in the Frontier and conference games. We saw conference games being affected in the Big Sky. Southern Utah, Lady Grizz not going to play Thursday, which is tonight, or Saturday. I don't know why, by the way, that they're not doing back-to-backs like the Frontier. I don't know why they need a day in between in the Big Sky Conference. You don't. Anyway, but yeah, this is it's just frustrating. And it's frustrating to keep having to chat about it. But it's because a lot of people aren't paying attention. Just follow the rules. That's all we got to do. Wear your mask. I was wearing my mask and still ended up with COVID. Wife wore her mask. But wash your hands, wear your mask, social distance. Which makes me wonder, how in the world are we going to get through a basketball season, a wrestling season? And I would think that the chlorine in the pool would kill anything for swimming. But we still got to be safe about that. I mean, just come on, people. All right, the awards are starting to come out. Class AA All-Conference football teams announced. Eastern AA will start there. Defensive MVP Neil Daly out of West, runners-up. The offensive MVP of the East, Junior Bergen of Senior, and Taco Dowler of West. Offense, let's see here. Those are your big ones. Defense, Kenneth Iden, we know he's so good. Let's move over to the West. Well, let's stay with the East, I guess. People across the state listen to this thing. And we appreciate that. And we know there's a video issue. By the way, you can listen to this show, Podbean, Network One Sports, TreasureStateRadio.com. You can watch on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. All right, offensive tight ends, Ryland Schlepp out of Gallatin and Jackson Williams from Skyview. Tackles, John Brown, Ethan DeRoche, Zach Malcolm, Eli Rowan, Jacob Anderson, Winslow Perry. Guards, Peyton Morton. Peyton Morton's a stud. Great family as well. Jaden Hoff, Zach Newton, and Carson Bain. Cameron Spencer, Thomas Kleps, Tyler Marr, Carter Warnick for centers. Wide receivers, Neil Daly, Taco Dowler, Tucker Macbeth, Jackson Berkeley, Levi Torgerson, Caden Dowler, Cedric Miller, and Peyton Sanders. Fullbacks, Liam Swenson, Kenneth Iden IV. Running backs, Jacob Miller, Jamie Medlock, Michael DeLeon, Jess Wattenberger, and Ryan Correa. Quarterbacks, Junior Bergen, Isaiah Clonch, Jordan Jones, Reed Harris. There's some good names right there. And then a bunch of the same names on defense, too. A lot of AA players playing both ways. All right, Western AA. Offensive MVP, Sentinel Senior, Camden Sermon. Defensive MVP, Sentinel teammates, Gino Leonard and Soren Sivrud. Tight ends from Sentinel, Zach Cruz, Buttes, Jake Olson, and Glacier's Luke Billow. Tackles, Rocco Bakari of Glacier, Judson Selesker of Helena, Zach Hengis, Sentinel, Parker Lindsay, Sentinel, Zach Tierney, Butte, Kevin Northey, Capital. Guards, pretty heavy. Dylan Rollins, Ramsey Knowles Sentinel, Josh Goldman, Helena, Ty Rea, Butte, Jamie Michelotti, Capital. Centers from the West, Gino Leonard, Sentinel, DJ Jackson, Butte, Dylan Cunningham, Capital. These are your Western AA offensive stars. Wide receivers, Ian Finch out of Hellgate, Leo Filardi from Hellgate, Dexter Tedesco from Helena, TJ Roush, Sentinel, Hayden Cruz, Sentinel, Quinn Belcher, Capital, Rafe Miller, Helena, Chase McGurran, Helena. So that's a loaded wide receiver class. Fullbacks, Charlie Kurgan out of Sentinel, Zach Evans from Helena, Ben Swanson from Helena. Running backs, Jake Rendina, so good, out of Glacier, Soren Servrud, Sentinel, Donovan South, Sentinel, Christian Vetter, Butte. Quarterbacks, Helena's Caden Hewitt, Dante Mori from Hellgate, Sentinels, both Camden Servin and Dayton Bay. Punter is Camden Dernberger from Sentinel and Casey Countsman from Butte. And then athlete, Jace Kluswitz and Coulter Janicaro. All right, on the defensive side, got Zach Cruz from Sentinel, Tyler Little from Capital, Charlie Kurgan from Sentinel, Jake Olson from Butte, Aiden Lee from Butte, and Ethan Dady from Glacier. Lineman, Forrest Suero from Helena, Rocco Bakari, Glacier. Sentinels, Daniel Deifert, Zach Tierney, Butte, Talon Marsh, Capital. As a sophomore, that's impressive. Nice job. Zach Carson from Helena, Joe Holzer from Sentinel. Your inside linebackers. I'll just do your inside and your outside together. These are all your linebackers that are on the Western AA All-Conference. Zach Evans, Helena. Gino Leonard, Sentinel. Chase Williams, Sentinel. Colby Jensen, Big Sky. Race Neal, Capital. Alec Thomas, Flathead. Chayton Winkle, Capital. Marcus Evans, Helena. Soren Sivrud, Sentinel. Hughesby, Sean Hughesby, Big Sky. Ryan Wolstead, Hellgate. Man, just some unbelievable kids. Safeties, Helena's Ben Swanson, Sentinel's Kluswitz. Donovan South, Sentinel. Jacob Wellnell, Capital. Tyler Hausman from Glacier and Tanner Huff from Butte. Corners, Helena's Chase McGurran, TJ Roush from Sentinel, Christian Hansen from Butte, Connor McCarthy, Sentinel, David Lowry, Helena, Braden Terzos, Hellgate, Mason Green, Capital. So there you go. Your defense and your offense for the Western and Eastern AA. All State, I think, is out tomorrow. So that's pretty awesome. Pretty good list there, too. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back, and when we do, we're going to talk some hoops with one of the state champs. Capital's got some good stuff going on. Volleyball's won 3 straight. Girls basketball's looking for a second straight AA title. We'll talk to Coach Katie Garcin-Forba when we return. Jason Walker Show is presented by Capital Collision Center.
New vehicles keep coming, and Capital Collision Center keeps earning certifications to repair them. They're Helena's newest GM-certified facility. No matter the make or year, they repair your car to manufacturer's standards and requirements, maintaining its safety and value. Montana state law says it's your vehicle and it's your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center, certified in GM, Subaru, and Nissan, and Helena's only shop certified in Honda, Acura, and Ford. When you value safety, go to Capital Collision Center on Euclid.
Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918. Or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show. Jason Walker here, and I want to tell you about a great place that's going to make you feel better in just an hour. Ocean Spirit Massage. From deep tissue to hot stone and more, Ocean Spirit Massage will get your sore, tired muscles feeling like new. Whether you overdid it working out, hiking the hills, playing golf, whatever it is, or even if you're pregnant, you will walk away feeling better than you have in years. Book now for yourself or make it a couples massage. And gift certificates are always available as well. Visit oceanspiritmassage.com or call 417-0542.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Welcome back, Jason Walker Show. This segment brought to you by Rucker's Furniture. Make the quality choice for your home at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena. Still to come here on the show, presented by Capital Collision Center. We will talk some rodeo, get you set for the national finals tonight, and much more. But want to welcome in our first guest. We haven't talked to her since, March, April? I don't even remember. It's been a while, and I was missing her voice, and I thought the other night, you know what? I'm going to send her a text. Katie Garcin-Forba joins us. Oh, I know when we talked last. It was when you were named Coach of the Year, Catherine. And I think that was the last time we spoke. But,
I think so, and I think that, oh, God, I don't even know. It's all been a blur at this point. I don't even know when that was.
I know, right? Yeah, I can't remember. So how you been, though?
I've been good. Can't complain too much. Things are obviously different for us. I'm working from home remotely, but we've got a good setup for that. And we haven't been impacted, with our jobs, my husband and myself. And so, all in all, things are a little uncomfortable just because there's, COVID and pandemic stuff, and it's, just different territory. But overall, it's been good. We've survived and been okay.
Well, you guys are still relatively new into a marriage, so if you're both at home a lot, that's still okay, right?
Sure.
or not.
I think when everything kind of started off, my husband still goes to work, and so he's out, but he'd come home, and I wouldn't have any human interaction with people all day. So he'd come home tired, and I'm like, what's happening out there? What's the world doing? And he's like, oh, my God, just give me a minute.
So it was almost like back in the old days. Yeah, you just let the husband breathe. And,
Right.
Yeah, like it.
He would wake up and have breakfast made for him, and he's like, who are you? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, COVID changes a lot of things. But the summer was good. You got some traveling in, I hope? Or some maybe not?
We did a little bit of stuff just local, and got to just kind of be in Montana, and it was actually nice. We still had some of our open gyms, and we had some local stuff with our kids, and so that was good. Just to kind of take a step back and just be in the moment a little bit. Things get so busy, and we went from obviously basketball season is just crazy busy, and we're kind of passing each other and, running different schedules. And then it shut down so quick and abruptly, and everything shut down. And we just kind of enjoyed being and did a lot of house projects and just kind of kind of enjoyed it. So it wasn't too bad.
Capital Girls basketball coach Katie Garcin-Forba, our guest here, Jason Walker Show, Mike Miller, State Farm Hotline. I talked to Audrey Hofer a couple of weeks ago, and she said that if they'd won the state championship in volleyball, that would bring a little bit of closure to last March with basketball and the way it ended abruptly. Do you still have some emptiness out there?
I don't know that I would call it emptiness, but I think there's more of like this eagerness for us to get going again. And it's been really cool. The girls, they won the state title for volleyball on Saturday, and on Monday they were ready to get back in the gym. And I was expecting them to want to take some time off, and they were just ready to go. They've been excited for season. I think that they're excited to kind of finish up their senior campaign and see what they can do. But it went from there was kind of that unfinished business feeling to now it's like, okay, let's get rolling and let's see what we can make happen this season. So it's more just eager to be back together and have our coaching staff and our kids back together and be on the court again and see what happens.
You and I were talking before we came on the air, and you kind of don't know how it's going to look when practice starts on Monday. You've been talking with Guy Almquist, the boys coach, about how to do things, and there's really not a great answer, and it's going to be up in the air even as you get going here on Monday in 4 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been really honest with the kids. When we finished open gyms this week, it was like, here's what tryout, here's the times that we're doing it, here's our dates for it. We're going to be adapting as we go just to really maintain social distancing and be really stringent with masks and disinfecting stuff and, limiting that exposure with the kids. And so it's probably going to feel a little bit clunky at times. As coaches, we like to be in control of every aspect of things and have it run smooth, and it's just not realistic. So we've had to take a step back as a staff and kind of evaluate, okay, how can we do this in the, number one, the safest way possible to allow us to get through tryouts and get the most out of it. And then, to make sure that the kids are able to showcase their skills and abilities and be able to place kids on teams accordingly. So it's definitely, our preseason stuff is not consisted as much of X's and O's. It's been more of, okay, how do we actually make this season a success and allow it to happen?
How different has this been, and how hard has this offseason been? Because you are not just planning for a season, but you're planning for contingencies that nobody knew about a year ago at this time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's always hectic trying to get your season started. The administrative stuff and, getting ready for tryouts, ramping up, definitely at a level of stress and anxiety that I don't think any of us ever expected, when you're a head coach and you're running a program, that this is something you're going to be dealing with. But honestly, I've relied heavily on other coaches that are going through the same thing. I've got some friends that are out of state that are coaching, and they've already kind of started their seasons up. Okay, what are they doing? I've bounced ideas even off Rochelle and seen how they're doing things at Carroll at the college level. And so just trying to get a better grasp, even Bill and at Corbin, what are they doing? What are they up against and how are they managing things? So trying to use the resources that we have available to us and bounce ideas off of people and say, okay, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and what can we do to try and, improve things on our side of it.
All right, so give us an idea starting Monday what tryouts is going to attempt to look like for the next 3 days, because you did extend that for a day too, right?
We normally go 3 days.
Oh, okay.
The boys have gone 2 days, and then they'll start practices that third day. But Guy's going to extend theirs, I think, to the third day. Because normally, like on Saturday is our final tryout, and we'll have a morning tryout, and they'll have practice in the afternoon, which we won't do this year. We'll just have one session on Wednesday. But it definitely, we have to look at putting kids in pods, and if they're partnered up, day one, they stay partnered with that person the next 2 days. And then just really, as we're explaining things, making sure that we've got kids spaced out, utilizing the entire gym space and making sure we've got them spread out that way. And anytime there's some downtime where they're standing, listening for instruction, making sure that they're spaced out. And then really, trying to gauge when we can have masks on versus when they get to a certain point where we've got to pull masks off, and really being aware of that, I think is an important thing we have to pay attention to. But I think the biggest thing is for us, we have to have realistic expectations of what we might be able to accomplish on Monday and how we're going to have to adjust. And, we want to see the kids play. We want to give them that opportunity. but we're going to have to make adjustments as we go. And so just being okay with that and, control what we can and adjust what we need to.
Katie Garcin-Forba, our guest here, Jason Walker Show, coaches the state champion Capital girls basketball team. This is going to be a year, and it's different than volleyball. It's different than football. But it's still, we want the kids to have a season. And how hard has it been at all of this just to think, what if? I mean, how can we get through an entire season without issues? I mean, you look at the Frontier, no conference games this weekend. They've been postponed, and the Big Sky's losing games. And we want these kids to be able to have a season, but as safely as possible.
Absolutely. And I think, what's hard is there's a huge mental health benefit for these kids that when they're involved in sports and activities. I mean, I think we all feel it as adults, how this has affected us. We want to do it in as safest way as possible, and understanding the impact that COVID has on people, and it can vary, and it can be, I mean, it's there's still a lot of unknowns with it. So, I think our approach with our kids and as a staff is there's going to be changes. It's not going to go according to schedule. It's not going to go according to plan, and we have to be adaptable. And from the very start, 3 years ago when I took over, the motto was, commit to the controllables. And that is all we can do at this point. I have to give a lot of credit to the administration and the ADs around the state who are trying to make this possible. MHSA has, they're trying to figure out ways to make it work. So we have to do our job to work with them and be adaptable and, really just kind of roll with things. And when something comes up, we have to be able to control the aspects that we can. But we're going to see disruption, and anybody that thinks otherwise is crazy. It's just the reality of it. And so for us, we have to make sure that our kids have the same approach and just be very upfront with them. And then at the end of the day, our kids got to keep their bubbles small. Our family, the families in the program have to keep their bubbles as small as possible and just do everything that they can within their power outside of our program to help us get through as much of it as possible.
It's not easy being one of the two, I guess, just you and Coach Almquist, the ones that don't coach in or teach as well as coach. But it's never easy to keep track of kids all the time when you're not in the schools. Well, now they're not in the schools either full time. So how challenging is it to make sure that schoolwork's getting done and that you're staying on top of the kids too?
Yeah, it's definitely a different element to it. I'm really fortunate to have coaches that are in the school, and I know that Guy is in the same boat. So as far as, checking grades and attendance and things like that, I hope that we've set the expectation in our program. Even from when Bill, he really set the tone with grades and attendance and everything, and that's carried through. And so, the expectation is you will still be a good student athlete and you will be a student first. But we also have to be realistic in that kids are going to have different challenges academically. And we need to be able to have those conversations with them. So I think for us, really, the communication piece is going to have to be even more so with our kids as the season is going on. And, how are they doing? How is home life? That is a struggle for certain kids, just in the schools, because there's a lot of unknowns for families right now. Right. And so really that's where building relationships with our kids is so vital. And at the end of the day, it's something we really talk about is loving these kids, being there for them on and off the court. And so if they're struggling academically, if they're struggling with other stuff, what can we do to help them, be successful? Because the basketball part of it's just a byproduct of what we really do. And this is a time where we have to step up and be accessible to them if they need that extra support, from adults in their lives.
You're always taking classes and I don't even know the word, workshops to try to figure out how to better deal with today's youth, I'm sure. Not only coaching clinics and the such, but there's the mental health aspect, like you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Did you take anything in college to prepare you for dealing with a bunch of teenage girls on a normal case, let alone now with COVID?
No, I envy anybody that did. What's nice is, fortunately, my JV coach, he minored in psychology in college, and he is just really I don't know, he's really in tune with that sort of stuff. Something that Bill and I really put a lot of time and energy into when I was coaching with him was that continued development, and not just the X's and O's, but what those other dimensions are to coaching and how we can reach kids, you know, on that more psychological level and what is impacting them. And so, you know, it's like, we've talked about it a ton though. We're going to have kids that are just struggling, and we can see that and we can sense that with them, but then being able to get them to have that dialogue with us is so important, you know, and try and reach out and be there for them, and even just knowing that we care about them and that, you know, whatever we can do to help. But no, I don't know that anybody that was prepared for what we're adjusting to, I have a lot of respect and envy for, because we're just kind of making it up on the fly, I feel like.
No doubt about that. All right, I got to ask you this. You're supposed to, I think, coach with the mask on. Is that a good thing for you? Because I know your personality. I know what you can be like on the sideline. So is wearing a mask actually beneficial for everybody, including yourself?
It probably is. I tend to be somewhat animated, I guess you could say. I asked the girls, I was like, hey, do you guys want me to, you know, try and find a clear mask, you know, like the clear plastic covered ones that, you know, not the face shield, but the actual mask. And they were like, no, we're good, coach. We're not super worried about that. So, no, I think it's definitely going to be different. It's funny watching the college coaches, how they're trying to, the biggest issue that I find our kids struggle to hear us sometimes through the mask. And so finding a good mask that we can still be able to, you know, project out there and stuff will be important. But, yeah, I think the mask will probably help as far as like my facial expressions and maybe some disdain when it comes to, you know, calls made throughout the game.
It's going to be harder though, because you won't have as loud of gyms. So you're really going to have to be careful, right? Because it's going to be pretty quiet in there.
It will be. And honestly, what's going to get me in the most trouble will probably be comments that I'll turn and say to my coaching staff, because usually when it's loud, you know, I try to be pretty, you know, fairly reasonable with officials. And I think that that's something that I do an okay job with. But when I turn and talk to my coaching staff about maybe a disagreement that I see, that could be what kind of gets me. So, yeah, it's going to be weird having it be a lot quieter, and we're going to have to make our own noise as a team. And, you know, it'll be an adjustment for sure. It'll be like the opening couple of games at the national tournament that I've been to for the women and for the men's games, where there's like nobody there. That's kind of what it's going to be like. Or a Saturday morning game with just parents, you know, loser out. Yeah. Because that's essentially what you're going to have. You just, you know, I just think you need to, you can't say, what the hell was she thinking, you know, on that, because you're going to be heard now. You can't really go after Flato or Tesh or any of these guys now, because they'll hear everything. I just think it's going to be fun for you. I wish I could go to all these games now just to see how you and like Coach Almquist and all these coaches, how you guys adjust to the quietness. I want to see. I'm going to wait. I want to know which coach like rips off their mask in frustration first. And it's like the tie coming off, or the suit coat. It's going to be the mask now. And I'm waiting to see, you know, some of the college coaches, I've seen that reaction. Somebody's going to do that in the AA, and it's going to be the mask frustration. And hopefully it's not me to say that. Now I need to be on my best behavior.
Is that a technical if you throw your mask on the floor?
That's a good question. We haven't had the rules clinic come out yet, so I'm going to have to verify that.
Because, you know, coaches will throw their suit jackets or, like you said, their ties, they'll rip them off and throw them. And as long as it's, you know, at the bench, it's okay. But if you throw your mask down right in front of the scores table, I think you're probably going to get teed up.
Yes, or get a very strong warning at first. And then if it's a habitual thing, there's probably going to be more. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be good. But now, I mean, I'm making a note of that right now to verify because.
Put it right on top of your playbooks there. Is there going to be more movement, do you think, Coach, between teams this year because of COVID? Like the chances of JV varsity moving up more because of, you know, just never know?
that's something that we've honestly talked about as a staff, and how do we have more kids on to be able to, maybe help if we do lose kids to COVID or quarantine or something. And I honestly, I still don't have a great answer for that. I think we might see that in other, in some areas. I think one thing that we're seeing a little difference of is kids that were maybe kind of, I don't know if I really want to go out and I like it, but now it's a whole different level of commitment. And so we may not get some of those kids out. I honestly worry about next year because there's not as many travel ball tournaments. There's not as much stuff going on. So what are our numbers statewide going to look like for kids coming out to play basketball? But as far as how we're evaluating it with like the JV varsity and what we're looking at, if we bring more kids on, we also then increase our bubble size a little bit, and we lose a little bit of control with that. And so, I don't have a great answer for that. That's something that, we've spent a lot of time with, and we're going to kind of let that play out a little bit in tryouts and just see if that makes sense, if there's kids that should be moved up or that could be moved up to kind of help with that scenario. And with the shortened season with 14 games for our lower levels, we want to get them as much playing time as possible. So it's definitely a concern how we manage, the number of kids on each team, and if a COVID incident were to occur, how we handle that.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch. Who wins? All right. It's December the 3rd, 2020, assuming there's a March Madness or May Madness. Are you still picking the Dukies?
Oh, absolutely. I gotta say though, I've always got to go Duke. That's my guys. But Gonzaga is going to be very tough, and they're going to be really fun to watch. And I think that they have a pretty special team this year. So I'll be cheering for them as well, because I really like what he's done with their program and the kids that they have. So I'm excited to watch them over the next few months.
You got the basketball. Your Coach Pilgrim hasn't even been able to start practice yet, so that still sucks. I've talked to him. So you guys are going to be one of the few shows that we're going to be able to watch in this region. Don't screw it up, okay? Do you have a contingency if you come down, unfortunately? Like who coaches?
I've got a great coaching staff. Honestly, I'm really lucky to have we've got Matt Rayout, who's my JV coach. He's fantastic. He's very involved in what we do and our schemes and everything. And he would be just an extension of me. And so he would do great. And then we also have Savannah Bignell is going to be on our staff this year, kind of really being able to float for us a little bit. And if something happens, she can step in and kind of fill one of those roles. She's student teaching at East Helena, and so it worked out well just to have her on board. And obviously she's got a great basketball pedigree. And so we've got a couple, and then I've got Tom Dearborn, my trusty old faithful. I mean, he's always there. And so, we've got good options if I were to come down with it.
Okay. Well, I mean, we don't want you to, because I just got over it.
Oh, how was it?
Worse than the flu.
Yeah.
That I had a couple years ago, but not as bad as whatever I had in July, which floored me for like 4 weeks. But it wasn't great. The fatigue is legit. I mean, the wife has it too, and she's dealing with different symptoms than I am. So it's like we can't even compare because we each have different symptoms. But I got hit harder, which is worse. I'm glad I got hit more than she did, obviously, but.
Yeah,
I wouldn't wish it on somebody. I've got some enemies that maybe, but that's just mean to say. So I won't say that anymore. All right. So we got Duke, we got Gonzaga. Who wins on the women's side?
Women's side, South Carolina is looking pretty tough. I think they'll be good. I actually think Louisville could make some noise. They've got solid guard returning and a couple good bigs. I don't know. The women's side, it's gotten so much more competitive where, 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was like, well, UConn's going to win it again.
Right.
UConn's going to win it again. I think Oregon is going to surprise people. They're younger, and obviously they graduate a lot, but he's got some really talented kids that have come in. So I'm excited to see what he does with them. So I honestly, there's a few different teams out there that could surprise, could surprise some teams in May Madness or whatever that looks like. So I don't know. I mean, it's tough to pick one right now. I think that it's going to be a very competitive women's side, and so much of it is going to be who can keep their team intact, throughout the duration of it. But it'll be fun. It's fun to see. There's a lot of really good women's programs out there right now, and there's some new coaches, that have taken over programs that were struggling that are already starting to do well. So I'm excited to see that.
Well, I appreciate the time. I'm looking forward to chatting once January rolls around and games start. Do we know if there's going to be or state tournament going to be like normal or like volleyball was?
They don't know for sure. They're proposing they've got a couple different options out there. I think they're waiting to see a little bit further along how things, kind of move forward. There's talk of the vaccine coming in to certain areas in Montana for different age groups and stuff like that, different classes of people. So I think it'll be dependent on some of that, how numbers are doing. But right now they're looking at, a similar format as volleyball, but they haven't ruled out doing a single site, separate locations for boys and girls, and handling it a certain way that way. So I think they're kind of throwing everything out there, and then as things progress, they'll narrow it down and kind of come up with a decision as we get a little bit closer.
I think there's going to be a lot of just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks and what slides off like bad spaghetti. So,
oh, absolutely.
Hey, Coach, appreciate it. Happy holidays, and stay safe. Keep your hands washed, and it's a pleasure to check back in with you. And I'm glad that we're going to be talking some basketball finally.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you, and you guys have a very happy holiday, and keep healing and stay safe and sane. And we'll see
that's
where we're
long
at
gone.
in
The saneness is way out of here, Coach. I do sports talk for a living. Come on. So
all right. I mean, as much as possible.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Have a great one, Coach, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Jason.
Yep, that is Katie Garcin-Forba, Capital Girls basketball coach, joining us. Mike Miller, State Farm Hotline. All right, so there you go. You get a little bit of an update on potentially where we're going to be. Practice starts Monday across the state for basketball and wrestling and swimming, and hopefully we get it in. But like Coach said, there's going to be issues. There's going to be problems. There's going to be disruptions. There's going to be postponements, cancellations. There's going to be it all, and you just have to be prepared. Like day by day, you're changing even within the days. So appreciate Coach joining us. All right, we're going to come back when we do rodeo chat. National Finals Rodeo starts tonight down in Texas for the first time in Texas since 1961. And we'll talk about the NFR. What Montanans have a chance to win next here on the Jason Walker Show.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $289. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918. Or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe Zydeco. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe Zydeco has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe Zydeco will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe Zydeco is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show.
New vehicles keep coming, and Capital Collision Center keeps earning certifications to repair them. They're Helena's newest GM-certified facility. No matter the make or year, they repair your car to manufacturer's standards and requirements, maintaining its safety and value. Montana state law says it's your vehicle and it's your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center, certified in GM, Subaru, and Nissan, and Helena's only shop certified in Honda, Acura, and Ford. When you value safety, go to Capital Collision Center on Euclid.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Welcome back. Jason Walker Show, presented by Capital Collision Center. This segment brought to you by Mark Leroux Photography. And not only does Mark have awesome photos that you can buy, like the one sitting behind me here. That is from NS Northern Rodeo this year on July the 3rd. That was taken. But his calendars are out. He's got 2 calendars for 2021. They have 13 months in them. So this, I think December is included. Maybe next, no. Anyway. They got 13 pictures. That's what I meant. 12 months, 13 pictures. There's only 12 months of the year. Wow. Anyway, that's the scenic Montana photo or calendar. And look how big this thing is. This is not just some rinky-dink, bank calendar. This is a legit calendar. And then you've got the Cowboys of Western Montana calendar as well, which is super cool. They're both super cool. Anyway. So get those. MarkLerouxPhotography.com. And make sure you say that you heard about it on the Jason Walker Show. Okay? You can still book portraits, packages as well. I mean, you can just do a lot of stuff with MarkLerouxPhotography.com. All right, speaking of Mark and rodeo, because he's really good at shooting everything, including rodeo, but the Wrangler National Finals gets underway tonight down in Arlington, Texas at Globe Life Park Field Stadium, whatever it's called, home of the Texas Rangers. And there are some Montanans in the mix, including Richmond champion, former Texas Cowboy, now living in Stevensville. He sits 7th in the world. He is about 50,000 behind Tim O'Connell out of Iowa, but a lot of money can be won each and every night. So Richmond has himself a pretty good opportunity to make some noise in the bareback. In fact, we'll run through the day sheet coming up here. In Saddle Bronc, Wyatt Casper out of Texas leads the way. Former world champ Ryder Wright sits number 2. Chase Brooks out of Deer Lodge is in there. He's about 94,000 behind. But again, a lot of money can be made up. There are 3 Wrights: Stetson, Rusty, and Ryder. Are both Crawleys there? Just one Crawley, I believe, and that is Sterling, rather, and Jacobs. They're both sitting in there, 7th and 9th. And there's some great ones in there, too. Isaac Diaz, Taos Muncie, Zeke Thurston, Cole Elsher. Man, there's some good ones. That Saddle Bronc is loaded. Bull riding, it's led by, 6-time world champ Sage Kimsey, but his lead is very small. Normally, he'd basically had it wrapped up by now, but he's at 92,000 for the year. And, of course, a lot of guys, money way down this year, obviously. He's got about a $3,000 lead over Kai Hamilton in second. There are no Montanans this year. You got Stetson Wright sitting in 8th. He's in there for the all-around as well. Ruger Piva just missed out, former Western bull rider. Great kid. And he missed out on the finals by about $4,000. Less than $4,000. That's tough. That's tough. But there's the bull riding. And then in steer wrestling, Matt Reeves leads the way. 86,000, almost 87,000. No Montanans in steer wrestling. Defending world champ Ty Erickson did not make it. He finished in 19th. Shade Tree Atherton in 17th. I just wanted to say the name. That's his name. Shade Tree Atherton. Former Montana State Cowboy Jesse Brown is in the 15th and final slot. He just made it in. Bridger Chambers missed out this year as well. And again, a lot of guys didn't rodeo as hard because they just couldn't this year. Team roping, you got some Montanan connection with Clay Tryon out of Billings sitting in 7th. And Luke Brown leads the way, 89,000. Clay sitting there at 57, so he can make up some ground. He's won some world champs. Team roping on the healing side, Joseph Harrison leads the way. And then you've got, that's it. Oh, Chase Tryon made it by about $3,000. Helena's Chase Tryon made it in the 15th slot in the healing side. Tie down, we talked to defending world champ Haven Medjid out of Miles City yesterday. He sits just about 90,000 behind Shad Mayfield. Shad had a great year out of Clovis, New Mexico, 156,000. And Tough Cooper sitting in second, 67,000. Haven third, 66. And Haven, of course, the only Montanan in there. And then in barrel racing, you got Lisa Lockhart in 13th. She claims Ulrich, South Dakota, but we know she's from Montana, Circle area. And the barrel racing, other than that, is not loading. So I know Haley Kinsel's in second. Oh, here we go. Brittany Posey Tanazi leads the way. And she made it to 41 rodeos this year. There's a newcomer, 24-year-old Jimmy Smith, I'm looking forward to. She's in 4th. She made it to 54 rodeos. Tiani Schuster made it to 66. That's a lot. Lisa Lockhart, 46. And she sits in 13th with, she's about 46,000 behind the top spot. So there are your leaders as you head into the World Finals tonight, starting the 10-night run down in there in Las Vegas. And you can watch on the Cowboy Channel. You can go online, too, and pay some money. So if you don't have cable, you've got to pay for it on the streaming services. I think Hulu's going to have it, others as well. So we'll figure it out. We'll know tomorrow who won. We'll run through it. We'll give you the day sheet real quick. Let's see here. The Montanans. Where are we at? Richmond champion is going to be on J-Bar J's Blessed Assurance tonight, and he should be 4th out, it looks like, in bareback. Steer wrestling, Jess Brown will go first, it looks like, the former MSU Bobcat. You've got Clay Tryon and Jake Long partnering up, and they're about middle of the pack tonight in team roping. Saddle Bronc, you'll have Chase Brooks. It looks like he's going to be 5th or 6th out, and he'll be on Son of Sadie from Bar T Rodeo tonight. And then tie down, Haven will be 3rd to last because they go in order from 15 to 1. Barrel racing, you'll have Lisa going out, it appears 10th, 11th, maybe, but it'll be interesting because we know the ground in the track in Vegas at Thomas and Mack, it's a short route and short pattern. And it really doesn't matter if you're on top or below the ground. So it won't matter if you're 1st or 15th, but it'll be interesting to see what it's like in Arlington. And they brought in a whole bunch of dirt, as we know, put on the infield there. So it'll be interesting to see. And then in bull riding tonight, Sage Kimsey will go last, but there's going to be some great rodeo action tonight. And it all gets underway. The 62nd Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. And gets underway at, 7 o'clock tonight? Mountain time? Is that Mountain or Central? I think it's Central. But anyway, just go look at your local listings. So there you go. There's your update on the rodeo. Can't wait, man. National Finals, one of my favorite times of the year, for sure. Let's see. Today is National Roof Over Your Head Day, December the 3rd. On this date in 1901, at the Major League Baseball meetings, the Milwaukee Brewers franchise was officially dropped from the American League and replaced by the St. Louis Browns. 1956, Wilt Chamberlain made his much-anticipated varsity debut in college. He scored 52 points, grabbed 31 rebounds, breaking all-time Kansas records in his first game. 1968, the MLB Rules Committee adopted a series of changes designed to increase the amount of offensive run production. So the strike zone was decreased. The height of the pitcher's mound was lowered from 15 to 10 inches. 1968, Elvis Comeback Special on NBC aired. I think that was in Hawaii, wasn't it? Or Vegas? Hawaii. 1997, Golden State Warriors terminated Latrell Sprewell's 4-year, $32 million NBA contract because a couple of days previous, he'd gone after his coach, P.J. Carlesimo. Latrell Sprewell, a punk. And he should have been arrested and thrown in jail. Happy birthday today, Katharina Witt, 1965, two-time gold medalist from Germany. There was a lot of kids in the 80s that had crushes on Katharina Witt. Ozzy Osbourne, born on this date, 1948. Daryl Hannah, 1960. Andrew Jackson elected the 7th president on this date in 1828. And Paul Harvey started his radio broadcast nationally on this date in 1950. Man, how much do we miss Paul Harvey, right? So much. Paul was the best. The rest of the story, his news every day, morning and afternoon, just awesome dude.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
All right. We talked about this yesterday, and then we didn't. So here it is. A Texas waitress over the weekend got a $2,000 tip. And then she found out from the restaurant that they weren't going to pay it. San Antonio, she'd been working as a server for 2 weeks. Had a busy Sunday shift at the Red Hook Seafood and Bar in San Antonio. While working the tables, she kept apologizing to a man who was in her section. She was being slow. She'd only been there for a couple of weeks. He was like, I understand. I get it. I know in restaurants, I know what it's like. So eventually, he's like, just cancel it all, and told Emily Bauer, just give me the ticket. So she did. She didn't even notice until later that he had left a $2,000 tip writing a note that said, Merry Christmas, keep working hard. And she opened it and she starts crying. She's like, oh my gosh, my kids get to have like a splurge for Christmas. But then the restaurant told her they can't process a tip larger than $500. So other servers at the restaurant suggested that they pay her out 4 separate tips of $500, but the restaurants refused. So I don't know if that's legal. I bet you she can fight that, and I think she probably should. The dude gave her the tip, not the restaurant. And in this time, you're going to argue? Look, I get restaurant owners are in a lot of trouble right now because of being shut down, and I mean, hell, they're shutting down the state of California again. And they're like a stay-at-home order, not even, it's bad. But give this woman her tip, the guy, or if you're the guy, well, he probably wants to remain anonymous. He's just a good Samaritan, wants to help out somebody, and did, and then the restaurant is screwing her. And they are not even buying dinner first. So we hope that gets resolved. Anyway, hope you had a great day. We had fun on the show. Katie Garcin-Forba. She's always a great fun to talk with. You can go to jasonwalkershow.com anytime to listen, rewatch anything you may have missed or want to watch again. Tomorrow, I believe we're going to talk to a rodeo queen from Fort Worth, Dallas, Arlington area. I believe that's coming up tomorrow. Either way, just join us, won't you? Jason Walker Show. Don't forget, go to jasonwalkershow.com. We're presented by Capital Collision Center. We'll be back tomorrow. Have yourself a terrific Thursday.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.